Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'm mentally traumatized because this video is about Made in Abyss, Dawn of the Deep Soul. I'm writing this script the morning after watching the movie, so it's really fresh in my mind. And this movie wrecked me. I actually pressed pause at one point just to take a moment to steady myself. I don't know how Akihito Tsukushi can come up with a story that is at once so beautiful and so horrific and tragic. For me, Made in Abyss is about soul, about spirit, love, dedication, commitment, determination, friendship, struggle, and perseverance in both the positive and negative direction, which is exemplified in this movie. We have Riko, Reg, and Nanachi, who have built this intense friendship and deep commitment both to each other and to the mission of getting to the bottom of the abyss. They protect, guide, and care for each other. And then, on the other hand, we have Bondrewd, whose dedication and love is given to his work and to the goals he has set for himself, to the point where he is willing to do anything, no matter how vile and heinous and disgusting. Our kids are in the light, and this villain in the dark, showing polar opposites of the soul, the same but opposite. In the beginning, we get to experience them enjoying each other and their adventure. Nanachi is having fun. Can you just imagine how long it's been since she felt that way? Not since before she and Mitty were transformed.
Dang it. This is the adventure to the bottom. I mean, it's exactly what I've always wanted. Dang it. This is actually really fun.
At this point, I would die for Nanachi. She's definitely my favorite character. But even as we see them bonding, we know where they are going and dread what this monster is going to do to them. And even though they know what's awaiting them, they march to Edo without hesitation. Nanachi is just like, we'll deal with it as it comes. But then, the first thing we're met with when they arrive is this adorable munchkin, Prushka, a bright and bubbly girl that is just so excited to meet people her size.
They all look about the same size as me. Okay, just need to be confident.
She and Riko hit it off immediately. It's honestly extremely touching to witness how she cares for Riko when she gets sick going up some stairs. For someone who grew up in such a harsh environment, she is extremely nurturing. And I have to say, this teeth crumbling thing really bothers me. It scratches my brain in exactly the wrong way. Can you imagine gritting your teeth so hard they break? But Prushka is there to help, and she guides Riko up the stairs with the help of her little pet, Menya. And what do they find at the top of the stairs? Reg being tortured and mutilated and experimented on. They cut off his arm and poke and prodded him like he's some kind of animal. No, not even like an animal, like he's a thing. They want to take him apart to see how he works. And this is the first instance of Prushka being faced with the monster her father is, because to her, he's wonderful.
My papa's the best ever!
Now, let's take a step back to Nanachi. In order to save her friends, she's willing to go back to working with Bondrewd, a man she despises. Even though she's terrified of him, I think she understands him in a way, or she pities him and the lengths that he's willing to go to in order to achieve his twisted dreams. But then I think maybe pity is the wrong word. I hope you can get what I'm trying to say. Living with him as someone he considered blessed must have been, and I don't know any other word for this, quite the mindfuck. It's like being the one person the devil won't torture, except he expects you to hurt others on his behalf. And Prushka clearly loves him, and he does show her affection and tenderness, and so I wonder if he treated Nanachi in that same way. Like Nanachi and Prushka are Bondrewd's two daughters, except Nanachi never loved him. When she finds out he's taken Rig, she rushes to save him, and she successfully gets him away from the minions, and Prushka helps them escape on a boat, shouting at the last moment that she'd like to join them on their adventure. And then our kids come up with a really great plan, and for a moment they seem to have defeated Bondrewd. But of course it's not that simple, and the guy respawns through his mask. But before he does that, Prushka sees her father's body and begins to mourn for him. Even though she saw him being a bad guy and is confused by his terrible actions, she's obviously devastated. And so she's elated when he comes back to life. So much that she'd do anything for him. So much that she wants to have all the adventures with him. So now I'm going to dive into the truly messed up stuff that happens in this movie. Firstly, the white whistles are made from a person? What the hell? That's so horrible, and it kind of makes me look at all the white whistles sideways, including Rico's mother. Though perhaps the fact that the person has to be willing makes it a little better, but I don't know. It's very complicated. And then there's the cartridges, which are these briefcase type things. I'm going to let Nanachi explain
The
it.
stuff inside their heads and on down their spinal cords. Plus enough guts to keep living a few days until their expiration date. That's all they leave of them. Wrapped in flesh and skin again. Then stuffed in this container as a substitute for bones.
And so, Bondrewd figured that Nanachi retained her humanity because of Mitty's love for her. So if he'd like to go through a similar transformation, one that involves him retaining his intelligence and humanity and still having a functional body, he needs to sacrifice someone who loves him too, like a daughter, for example. And so he takes this adorable little girl who loves him and cuts off all her body parts till she's nothing but a brain and some internal organs squished into a suitcase. And while we already know that she's essentially dead, we get a flashback of how difficult her life has been and how amazing it is that she's such a wonderful person now. Considering her past traumas, it would make sense for her to be cruel and heartless. But she's not. She's kind, she gets excited, she's nurturing. If Made in Abyss is about the qualities of the soul, then Prushka exemplifies the qualities of resilience, perseverance, deciding who you are and then determining to be that, choosing to be good, even when the odds are stacked against you, even when you lose yourself more than once and have to pull all the pieces of yourself back together, you can still be the bright spark in the darkness. And even though she's lost her body, she still wants to go on an adventure with Rico, Rig, and Nanachi. And so she becomes a white whistle. A white whistle for Rico. A part of her will continue on this grand adventure. Goodness me, I admire the mind that comes up with all of this. The contrast of cuteness and horror is really pronounced in this series. Like Nanachi, this cute rabbit creature, admitting that she used to turn children into cartridges herself. The same kids she'd talk to and would call her cute, she'd carve up for Bondrewd. Talk about a dark past. It just goes to show how we can sometimes do horrible, despicable things in order to survive. The determination of the human spirit to continue going. We do see in flashback that Prushka took part in these cartridge making experiments as well, so it also goes to show what we're willing to do to appease the ones we love. However, I will say that I don't know if Prushka took part in the cartridge making from like the beginning stage, because she seemed quite excited by the arrival of the children being her size, which makes me think that she doesn't interact with children often. And so maybe she just does that last part of the cartridge making when it's just like a bunch of meat and doesn't actually see them as children. Or maybe all the children are dead and have been dead for a long time. So that's why she was missing children. I don't know.
素晴らしい.
It does seem like Bondrewd actually cared for Nanachi, but I don't know if that was more of an idolizing of the blessing, as he calls it, her particular kind of transformation. In the end, he's not dead, but seems to have had a change of heart at the very least. How long will that last? I don't know, but they should have destroyed the mask. Okay, so I want to end on a lighter note. How random is it that a movie with so much serious stuff going on takes time to mention that Reg gets boners? Rico mentions it to Krishka, and then they actually show it later on when he's touching Nanachi. No wonder she doesn't like it when he tries to cuddle her. That's so weird, man. It's a little boy. Anyway, that's going to be it from me. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe, all those good things. Feel free to suggest future videos in the comments. I've been Kayla. See you next time. Bye.